Section 47 of the Negotiable Instruments Act speaks how a bearer check is negotiated. So, as per Section 47 of the NI Act, a check payable to bearer is negotiable by mere delivery and requires no endorsement. It doesn't differentiate between a crossed and uncrossed check. So, any check payable to bearer is negotiable by mere delivery and requires no endorsement. This is as per Section 47 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. Now we'll talk about the protection given to the bankers under Section 58 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, and this is about stolen check. This is about stolen check. So if a check is stolen, the possessor cannot receive payment until he is holder in due course. And you have gone through the definition under Section 9 about the holder in due course. So, if a check is stolen, the possessor cannot receive payment until he is holder in due course. Then there is another section, Section 65. It tells when the check should be presented for payment. So, if the check is held by some individual or company or something like that, the check must be presented for payment during the usual business hours. And if it is to be presented by a banker, it should be within the banking hours. It means the working timings of a bank are very important. Even if a banker has preponed the working hours or has extended working hours, the presentment of the payment must be done as per the business hours or the working hours mentioned by the bank outside their entrance. So it must be presented during the usual business hours, and if a banker is presenting it, it must be within the banking hours. Another section, Section 80, it speaks about the rate of interest of a bill of exchange if it is not specified. If the rate of interest is not mentioned, what rate is payable? So Section 80 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, it speaks that if no rate of interest is mentioned on a bill of exchange, the rate of interest is to be taken as 18%. So it is provided by law, and Section 80 of the Negotiable Instruments Act covers it. Then Section 85 speaks about the statutory protection under Section 85. Statutory protection to the paying banker. So, Section 85 speaks that in case of an open instrument, protection is available in subsection 1, which states that where a check is payable to order proposed to be endorsed by or on behalf of the payee, the drawee is discharged by payment in due course. So subsection 1 of Section 85 of Negotiable Instruments Act speaks that when a check payable to order, it's not a bearer check, where a check payable to order purports to be endorsed by or on behalf of the payee, the drawee is discharged by payment in due course. Means it must be, apparently it must be looking as if it has been endorsed by or on behalf of. It is endorsed by the payee himself or on behalf of the payee. Because You might have seen in case of corporates, for and on behalf of this and this. So if the such endorsement is there, the drawee is discharged by payment in due course. So there are two conditions. One is endorsement must be regular, and second one is the payment must be made in due course. It should be payment in due course as covered under Section 10 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. Now subsection 2 of Section 85, what it speaks? It speaks about the bearer check. So subsection 1 speaks about the order check, and subsection 2 of Section 85 speaks about the bearer check. About bearer check, it is said once a bearer, always a bearer. So the definition which it covers is like this: where check is originally expressed to be payable to bearer, means it is expressed to be payable to the bearer, the drawee is discharged by making payment in due course to the bearer thereof. Means it is, if the check is expressed to be payable to bearer, the drawee is discharged by payment in due course. The payment must be in due course. Notwithstanding any endorsement, whether in full or blank appearing thereon, and notwithstanding that any such endorsement purports to restrict or exclude further negotiation. So any endorsement on the check will not make any effect, because it is a bearer check, and for a check which is once a bearer, it is always a bearer, and the banker is not required to verify at all whether the endorsement is regular or not. He is discharged by making payment of an uncrossed bearer check to the bearer in due course. Like this. Now we are talking about payment of a materially altered check. Materially altered check. And it is covered under Section 89 of NI Act. And Section 89 of NI Act speaks that where a check is presented for payment, which does not at all at the time of presentation appear to be crossed, or to have had a crossing which has been obliterated, payment thereof by a banker liable to pay and paying the same according to the apparent tenor thereof at the time of payment and otherwise in due course, shall discharge such banker from all liability thereon, and such payment shall not be questioned by reason of the check having been crossed. In general terms, we may say that a check was crossed, but the crossing has been removed. By apparent tenor means just by looking at the check, we see that yes, it is not crossed. And even the obliteration is not visible, that the check, there is some material alteration on that, or obliteration is there. So through general, as per apparent tenor of the check, it is visible that it is not a crossed one. And if a banker pays such check, it gets protection under Section 89 of the NI Act. So where a check is presented for payment, which does not at the time of presentation appear to be crossed, or to have had a crossing which had been obliterated, payment thereof by a banker liable to pay and paying the same according to the apparent tenor thereof at the time of payment, and otherwise in due course, shall discharge such banker from all liability thereon, and such payment shall not be questioned by reason of the check having been crossed. So Section 89 gives protection to the paying banker in case of materially altered check, and this is about the crossing. So the conditions automatically that the check does not appear to be a crossed one at the time of presentation, or if all obliteration of the check is there, it is not apparent. And the second one is the payment is made according to the apparent tenor of the check, and it is in due course. Now we are coming to two more sections, section 99 and section 100. These sections are about noting and protesting. So it is about promissory note or bill of exchange. And when as per section 99 of the NI Act, when a promissory note or a bill of exchange has been dishonored by non-acceptance or non-payment, you see which instruments are dishonored by non-acceptance, which are usance, payable after a certain period of time, and which are not which are dishonored by non-payment means they are payable on demand. They have been presented, but the payment has not been made. So when a promissory note or bill of exchange has been dishonored by non-acceptance or non-payment, the holder may cause such dishonor to be noted by a notary public upon the instrument or upon a paper attached thereto. So to get protection under section 99, what are the conditions? First is it should be either promissory note or bill of exchange. Secondly, it should be dishonored if by non-acceptance, if it is a usance one, or you may say payable after a certain period of time, or it should be dishonored by non-payment if it is payable to on demand. So these are the conditions, and if it is so, the holder may cause such dishonor to be noted by a notary public, and it can be done on the instrument itself or upon a paper attached thereto. And section 100 is just an extension of this section 99, that after noting the notary issues a certificate. After noting the about the dishonorment of a promissory note or bill of exchange, the notary issues a certificate which is called as a protest. So, 100, section 100 of NI Act speaks about protest. 99 for noting, and 100 for protesting.